Hi, welcome to Quilting with Lori. My name is Lori Dickman, and today I am starting on block number 1, which is of the Bees in My Garden block of the month for 2024. This is going to be a really fun wall quilt to make. There's actually going to be a couple of different border options for you. The center of both quilts are going to be the same, so you'll be getting, if you register for the class, and I'll have a link below that you can go out and register. It's on my courses tab out in my quiltingwithlori.com website. You can register for the class, and then you'll get all of the PDFs that you'll need, plus the templates each month for the blocks that we're going to be working on. So let me show you a close-up of both of the quilts. This is the one that offers the applique around the outside for the border, and this one is giving you more of a piano key type border. So there's a couple of different options, a pieced border or an applique border, and you'll be learning both of those, and then you can choose which one you'd like to go with. Let me share with you the fabrics that I'm going to be using for my block of the month for this year. This is going to be my background fabric, or the sky fabric, that will be behind the beautiful center of the quilt. So that's what I'm going to be using for both of mine, and I will be making both quilts. For this one with the pieced border, I'll be using these options, these greens, and I'll be using a light fabric as well, because I'm going to need a light fabric in that piano key border. So that's the other one that I'll be using there. For the border, or the quilt that's going to have this pink border, these are the fabrics that I'll be using. And for my flowers and my leaves, I'll be using these for the flowers, and of course the greens that are options in both quilts for the leaves. And then for the bumblebee, I have some other fabrics. A lot of the fabrics that I'm using are batiks. Not all of them, but most of them are batiks. This is what we're going to be doing for the month of March. I'm going to be showing you today how to make the block A, which is the Dresden blocks, and we'll be making 8 of those. Next month, we're going to be working on the leaf blocks. The following month, we'll be working on the bee blocks, and we'll learn the piano key border. And then in the month of June, we'll be learning how to do the applique borders. So this is March, April, this is May, and that's June. So by June, you should have the quilt completely pieced together so that you can get it quilted and up on your wall. It'll be a beautiful quilt to hang for this summer. So for those of you who have registered, you would have received your introduction sheet a month ago with the supplies that you needed, and then you would have received an email this week which would have included the instructions for today's blocks, as well as the template that you're going to need. And on this template sheet, make sure when you print it that you print it at 100%. Most printers default to fit to page, and that will be too small, so make sure you print it at 100%. You are going to cut 8 of the light background squares, 9.5 inches square. That's the block A, and so I've got 4 of them here right now, but you'll need a total of 8. So I have those 9.5 inch background blocks. I've got 4 of them ready. And you're also going to need to have a total of 16 pink Dresdens and 8 dark pink Dresdens. They will all use this B template. And then your yellow fabric is going to use this C template. And of course you're going to need a total of 4 of those for each Dresden flower. So you'll need a total of 8 for both flowers. As you can see here, we have 2 flowers, complete flowers, in the wall quilts. So you need a total of 8 of them. 4 for each flower. And then for the Dresdens, you're going to need a total of 8 pinks and 4 dark pinks per flower. So it's a total of 16 and 8 of those. And it gives you that information right here. What you'll want to do is take your lightweight fusible, paper-backed fusible. I am simply using a heat and bond. It's a lightweight heat and bond. You can use soft fuse. There are so many different paper-backed fusibles out there. Just use what you might have. And you're going to trace. Don't cut these apart. Leave this page intact so that you don't lose these templates. You're going to trace your templates. We're going to be doing fusible applique. Therefore, we can ignore that 1/4 inch seam allowance. That is there for those of you who like to do needle turn applique. So if you prefer to do needle turn applique, you obviously will not need the fusible, and you will definitely then want to include your 1/4 inch seam allowance, because as you're doing your needle turn applique, you'll be turning that seam allowance under all the way around. What I'll be teaching in this class is fusible applique. So I am going to be using my fusible applique. You will use the dark lines for tracing. The dark lines are what you're going to be using for tracing. So you'll simply want to lay your paper-backed fuse on top of each template, and you'll need to draw as many template C's as you're going to need, and you'll need a total of 8 of those. So right now I have a total of 2 in this grouping here. And I have a total of 2 of my bee templates right here, and they'll be my dark pinks. And I have marked dark pink and I've marked yellow. That way I know which fabric I'm putting them on. And on this little grouping here, this is another of the template bees, but I put a P on all of these because these are going to be, they're grouped together, and I am going to place them on pink fabric, and they'll be cut from pink fabric. So I need 4 of these, I need 2 of these, and I need 2 more yellows. I have to draw those yet. I haven't traced them out yet. But I like to group everything in groupings so that when I place that, I can loosely cut that out and place this whole section on the wrong side of yellow fabric, and I'm set to go. This grouping here, I can loosely cut it out and place it on the wrong side of the dark pink. And this one right here is a grouping that I can loosely cut it out already, and I will place it on the wrong side of my pink fabric, and I will fuse it to that. Let me show you what I mean. I have fused my templates. I'm using a batik fabric, which there's really not a wrong or a right side to the batiks. If you are using a batik fabric, just see if there's a certain side that you like better than the other, and then fuse them to the side that you don't like as well. Anyway, I've got my 4 dark pink template bees. I have my 8 light pink template bees. And then I have my yellow templates. So this is all fused, and it's cooled, and now I can cut them all out on the dark line. And that's what you're going to do, is cut them all out in the dark line once they've cooled down. So let me get those cut, and I'll be right back. Here I have cut out all of my templates. I had a total of 8 pinks and 4 dark pinks for 1 of the flowers, and then 4 of these yellow C templates. And this again is just for 1 complete flower. And so I've got them placed on my background square here. Let me move this down so that you can see this. When I placed the templates on the background square, I placed them close, but it's less than 1/4 of an inch away from the edge all the way around. And so I placed the yellow template C first, and then I placed these pinks, and then I put the dark pink on top. And that allowed, if I had placed the light pink on top of the dark pink, it would show through. So you definitely want to flip that around and make sure that your dark pink is on top. Make sure that there is nothing, no background showing through behind this area or behind the areas here. You want to make sure that flower is complete. And once you're happy with that, you might want to do this on your ironing board. And once you're happy with the placement, then you can go ahead and press. And before I would press, I would also grab your another block, which will go right next to it, and just make sure that you're placing everything about the same, so that when you piece the blocks together, all of these edges will work out beautifully. So I'm laying that like that, and this will make sure that the shoulders, if you will, or that circle will actually connect properly. So that's what I would recommend as you're going through and doing this. Just probably get them all laid out first next to one another on your ironing board. Once you're happy with how everything looks, then you can press it, and I'm going to flip this so that it's on top. There we go. So now this looks like it's all going to work together beautifully once the blocks are sewn. You are not going to sew these blocks together at this point. because of how they're positioned within the center of the quilt. We're going to wait and sew all of the center blocks of the quilt together once the leaf blocks are done and once the bee block is finished. I have a little bit of the applique done here. I've chosen a deep gold, which I have gone ahead and appliqued all 4 of the blocks around that center. And I did that because it helped to solidify everything to the background here. So I did that first with the deep gold, and it's a beautiful rayon thread. And then I'm using a dark pink thread, and I am appliquing. First I appliqued here, then I started down here and came around into the bottom, and then I came here and around there. So I've finished that applique block entirely. It's completely ready to be pieced, which we'll be doing later in this block of the month. We will not be piecing the blocks together at this point. So now I'm going to take these blocks back to my machine, and I'll show you how I'm doing that. I'm starting at this corner, and I'm appliquing to this spot here, cutting the threads and starting over and going around here and then starting again here. And that's how I've accomplished this one when I'm using a dark pink. I wanted something that would really outline especially these pink petals, because they're so light. I wanted them to be outlined with a darker color thread. You can use whatever color thread you choose. I did use a bobbin thread in the bobbin so that it's a very thin thread, and that helps so that it's not pulling up to the front of your applique. And here's a close-up of the applique. It's just a simple blanket stitch there that I used, and there is the back of it. So very simple to do. It really went very quickly, and now I'm going to share with you how I did this. I'll do it in fast motion here. You'll see here as I applique, it's a blanket stitch, and one stitch is off the edge and the other stitch bites into the fabric. So that's how, and it goes across the top, and it stitches off the fabric and then into the fabric, back up, off the fabric, into the fabric, back up, and so forth. So that's how you secure and applique those Dresdens and your center circle onto your background square. I have the 4 blocks appliqued. I used a deep gold to applique the circles in the center. I used a dark pink here that I used for appliquing each one of the flower blades. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful block when we get it all done. Again, we're not going to be piecing these together at this point. Leave them as they are. Once you get a total of 8 of these blocks, which gives you the 2 flowers that you need for whichever wall quilt you're making. The centers, again, of each wall quilt are identical, but you need 2 complete flowers, so you need 8 of these blocks to have ready. And then on month number 2, which is in April, we'll be working on these green leaf blocks, and we'll be making 6 of those. As you can see, this taller flower will have 4 leaf blocks, and the smaller flower will have 2 leaf blocks. And we'll work on those next, and then we'll go to the bumblebee block, and then we'll go to the borders. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really anxious right now to see the quilt finished. Thank you so much for joining me today as we took care of part 1 of our block of the month for 2024, Bees in My Garden. It's going to be a fun quilt. I think you'll enjoy putting this together. It's going to be a very happy, cheerful quilt that you can hang in your kitchen or in your foyer, on your porch. So many different places where you can use it. I look forward to seeing you again next time as we continue on our block of the month for 2024. Until next time, happy quilting.